Can a person who's a small entrepreneur actually become a nine-figure net worth guy or lady? The answer to that is yes. You just need to understand the road that takes you there. I'm doing this on a large scale, making institutional investors hundreds of millions of dollars of profit every time I'm doing it. But on just a small entrepreneurial scale, if you put capital aside, it's that easy. It's that easy to be in the United States. Ultra wealthy is a net worth over 30 million. And this is how easy it is to do this. You could build a company that we could exit for about 30 to 35 million in just that neighborhood.
I'm saying, you take your neighborhood, I take my neighborhood. Let's do it. Can you make $100 million doing this? We're talking about 8, 9, 10 figures, whether it's not you exit your company one day or you want to be one of the deal maker. This is episode number 2 of what has been a very, very highly touted podcast with my business partner, Adam Coffey, who's bought 58 companies, 2.46 billion in exits, and a very big one coming sometime in the next year. Adam, welcome back to episode number 2.
Hey, we got to, hello to everybody. JT, good to see you. It's like, if my curtains are down, then it's really damned early in the morning when we're recording this. And
yeah, it's 6 a.m. in the morning because I see dark too as well. So
it's the only time we seem to have a sync of schedules where we can get these things knocked out.
Your whole family's like sleeping and he's like loud. It's like, we're doing a podcast.
Exactly. I told my wife, hey, I'm doing a 6 a.m. JT thing. Shut the door. It's like, yeah.
So Adam, I want to talk about, the theme of the show is, can you make $100 million into this? And I think the number's so loosely used out there. 100 million, everybody's worth $1 billion, everybody's a billionaire. Let me ask you, how hard is it to scale a business to $1 million versus 100 million?
So, first of all, the concept, can you do this? Can a person who's a small entrepreneur actually become a nine-figure net worth, guy, or lady? And I think the answer to that is yes. You just need to understand the road that takes you there. And the hardest part, I think, for businesses, I was talking to somebody yesterday about statistics in Europe and another person about statistics in Australia, very similar to the US. It's like millions and millions of businesses that are out there, and small percentage here in the US, it's like 7% of 33 million small businesses get to $1 million in revenue, get to the, 4% of those get to the 10 million mark. And so the hardest part, I think, is getting out of the gates and it's not that they don't have the ability to rise to these levels, but it's the lack of experience or knowledge and knowing what's important to focus on that will take them there. Once they understand kind of that basic DNA, then there's just different behaviors that you apply at different sizes that allow you to then be successful small, scale it up first million, scale it up first 10 million, kind of get to the 30, 40 million in revenue mark where you're now able to plan for, if you want, that first exit at about a 30, $40 million payday, or keep on going to about 10 million in EBITDA, probably around 60 million in revenue, and go for that nine-figure exit. And so I think people can do, can do this in a relatively short and efficient period of time once they know how to get there and what's important to drive it.
So just so people understand, you have a business. Let's go to, you have a business or a deal maker. You have a business, and if you get it to 4 million, depending where you are in the world, you should get a 4 million in profit, EBITDA. You should get in essence, anywhere between 30 to $35 million exit. Again, different on industry, but let's just use a
good number,
30 to 35. And then you have a choice of then selling and taking part of that equity, cash up front, and then another portion to roll it up to the next guy who's going to come in, who's going to roll up to 100 million, which you can keep doing that all the way to the top, or just take a complete exit out. So that is the exit strategy. Now, there's 2 ways to do it. And number one, you have a company that does, let's say, 800,000. You merge 4, 5, 6 people together. That gets you to 4 million. And then you exit there underneath you. Or you are a deal maker. You find one company and put these companies together, took a fee on top, exit for 30 million, take 10, 15%. You walk away with $3-4 million. And these companies get a higher multiple than they would have had. So those are the 2 ways. Now, I want to ask you, because I was having this debate with this individual. So let's say people go out there, or someone's making $600,000 a year. They're a plumber, HVAC company, And you have to agree that if the plumber HVAC company makes $600,000 a year profit, it's a good number, correct? That means very rare for that industry, correct?
Well, they're doing good. I mean, it
No, no,
means
no,
that
they're
they've
good,
got,
but it's like it's rare, correct?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
and so the idea is we come in and we say, hey, we'll partner with you, and then we'll get it to 4 million. We'll put all these companies together. We'll go find them because we'll convince them because of our brand. We're two 9-figure guys, and we have lots of experience, and then we can do that. And then there's the one that maybe makes a couple $1,000,000 of revenue. They're good. They provide good service. They just suck at business because they're plumbers
yep.
trying to be entrepreneurs, not entrepreneurs being plumbers. And this is what I found because I met this guy who was a plumber who was making about $600,000 a year. And we were thinking about working with him. And I'm telling you, the ego on this guy, like he thought somehow he was the king and everybody wants me and everybody's emailing me to buy me out and to partner with me. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, dude, you're making 600,000. Let's calm down here. Like,
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
was acting like he was making $600 million.
So I encounter that all the time. I call that the arrogance, the unintended arrogance of success. So in that particular case, I've met that person too, and so that they're somewhat successful. That success has given them what I'll call a lifestyle business that's attractive for them, but they somehow believe then that they're the master of the universe. And I'll tell you the last HVAC company that I built, I sold for 550 million, and it'll sell again for 2 to 3 billion, in the next 12 months or so. It's like that, it's how we dream, and when someone thinks they've arrived when they got to 600,000, I haven't even gotten started yet. It's like, give me 20 or 30 companies that are earning 2 to 3 million of EBITDA, and then watch what I can do. And I think a lot of it too, JT, is entrepreneurs have this mistake of thinking that an exit is kind of a one and done event. It's like it's the crescendo, it's the aha moment of my life and my career, and I'm gonna get 5-6 million, and I'm gonna sell this thing, and I'm done. Or I don't want to be associated with it anymore because I'm not going to have control. And I see that first sale for an entrepreneur is just a rest stop on the wealth creation highway. One company that I ran, I sold 5 times in 13 years and 4 months. It's like that first exit, that's just the first monetization event, but we're going to keep building an empire. And I think that's, so that arrogance of success limits the upside that a lot of entrepreneurs could have if they were open to learning more.
So let me ask you, are we better off, or people listening, are they better off? This company makes $2 million. It's Johnny, great service, great company. The dude can't scale, right? He doesn't know how to run a business, right? And
Yeah.
someone like whoever's listening could go to another company or hypothetically us and say, you know what, dude, you got a great company, you got the trucks, you got the people, you just don't know how to run a business. You're probably spending money on you shouldn't, right? Because they don't have their unit economics, as you call it, right? Explain
Yeah.
to people what unit economics is very quickly.
So just simply said, we're talking about like a plumbing company. So unit level economics are the smallest common denominator. It's the unit where we generate our revenue from. So in a plumbing company, an HVAC company, it's one dude, one truck. It's how much revenue can I bring in with that one person, that one crew, my smallest unit level economics. What does it cost for me to operate that truck, to have that technician, that skilled person sitting in the truck? What are those costs? And then I'm looking for what's the profitability of that single truck. And JT, you remember we've talked about this before, that $1 billion guy who's got this really big company. I'm talking to him again, this time about being a chairman as opposed to being, the CEO. I don't want to do that.
So the billionaire came back to you, or
Oh
you
yeah.
followed up?
Yeah, no. They came back to me. They hired a team. That team's floundering, and not doing the job. And it's like it's world hunger again. It's like, why can't people fix world hunger? It's because they're trying to fix it from the top down. Everything in life, in business, is about unit level economics. If I can make it work small, I fix big.
But with this billionaire, like, but isn't that an expectation? So you always say, don't go after companies that are like broken because it's just the worst, right? And you rather have a
Yeah.
good company at a good multiple. Is this a company that's broken, or
Yes.
so? So why even bother?
Well, so remember going back to my GE days and all the companies that I started running, the reason why I came in as CEO is because they were broken. I was a turnaround guy. And so if they paid me enough, money, call it, I'd go in and fix the company. Once I fixed it, then I would scale it. And so I'm known as a turnaround guy. This is what I do. But I discourage entrepreneurs when they're operating on a small scale. I don't like to see entrepreneurs buy fixer uppers because they take, if you don't know how to scale a business, the fixing it, you're going to get bogged down in trying to fix somebody else's pile of crap, and so I spent a career as the turnaround guy fixing things, and so that led me to learn about breaking things down to unit level, economic level. But when I'm working with entrepreneurs or I'm doing a buy and build myself, I'll fix the base company I've got, but I only buy good stuff because it's hard enough to put 5 or 6 entrepreneurs together, on a small scale. Keep in mind that I buy 23 companies, I buy 34 companies, and I create one big empire, with doing a lot of M&A. It's like, it's hard enough to get people who've never had a boss before, give them all a wheelbarrow full of gold, and then get them all to sing Kumbaya around my fire and do what I want them to do. And so I start with good companies. If I only buy good companies that have good reputations, excellent entrepreneurs, and they're just open to becoming a part of something bigger and learning about what that process looks like, I can be very successful. So I stay away from fixer uppers. But it's been frequent in my career to where someone starts with something that's broken, and I come in and have to fix it before I can scale it.
So
And
let me take a step back with. So this company makes 2 million, probably makes maybe $100,000 a year, which is probably a salary. Would we be better off coming in and going to this guy, listen, and this guy's like, please, like I'm stuck. I want to do more. I can't do more. I don't know how to do more. Right. And he just needs that guidance. And then we kind of scale it to a $2 million and maybe even a $4 million. It's harder than you think, but I think 1 to 2 million, that's very easy. You're talking about, let's just take landscaping or plumbing. There's a customer, there's marketing, I mean, it's
So
common sense.
you and I are really busy, right? So I don't want to be responsible for tactical execution. I don't want to have to run their day-to-day business. You're not going to run their day-to-day business, right? So we need we need that plumber who's a really good plumber and knows how to run guys and trucks and plumbers and make shit happen in the trenches. We need that person. We become, call it the strategy, the business acumen, but they're always going to be the leader, the head of that company. They'll learn from us as we're doing it and scaling. But their responsibility is as we buy, collect the 3 or 4 companies, is to run the operations because that's their area of expertise. Our area of expertise is finding the right 3 or 4 companies, getting the deals done, putting them together. So we always need somebody in the trenches that has that executional, kind of
So you're saying
expert.
is that a guy like that with guidance couldn't execute, and guiding the guy is more work than actually dealing with a know-it-all who makes 600,000, who, by the way, is going to be resistant, which is typical.
Yeah, absolutely. So and that's where I go back to having, partnering with companies that are good companies that have good entrepreneurs who recognize their own shortcomings, who recognize the value that can be created by doing, what we're talking about doing. I think that is the better person to work with. The know-it-all is making 600 grand. That person's never going to make 10 million, in profit. It's like they can't get over
I know,
themselves to
but
get
I'm
to the
saying that
first,
that's my point.
million.
Is it better to work with someone who's making 100, who's very coachable, who's got all the right pieces, just needs the right guidance because they never got coaching because they're plumbing.
In that case, I'd like to put them in what I would call our AAA farm club because I'd like to help them scale to get a little bit bigger to where it's sizable enough for someone like you and I to come in and then take them to the next level. It's like I got to get them to a certain size point. Ideally, let's say minimum $1 million in earnings to then
Are
use
we talking
that
about
as
profit or are we talking about revenue?
profit, as $1 million in profit in order to then take it and scale it up to 4 or scale it up to 10. If they're sub $1 million, but they're coachable, those are people we want around the bullpen. It's like I want them around. I can help them kind of get over that initial hump, make sure they got the unit level economics dialed in, make sure they've got a formula for success. Work with them just a little bit to get them, scaled up to a certain size to where, okay, now we're ready. Now let's go in, grab that. You're my platform. I'm going to buy 3 or 4 other companies. We're going to put them together, and I'm going to get you to your first exit. I'm going to make you a deca millionaire. That's that's kind of the goal. And so I think there's like 2 levels to this. And when they're sub that million in earnings, if they're 600,000-800,000, they're getting close. But if we worked with them for just a little bit, coaching and helping them, kind of get that first little initial spurt of growth, then we can take it from there. It's funny. It's like, my wife likes to watch this show, it's taped in Houston. It's like the 600-pound life. And it's like Dr. Nas, before he takes a patient, he makes them lose, like 80 to 100 pounds just to prove mentally that they can do it. When I look at this, I say to myself, it's like, someone who's sub $1 million, I need to give them enough knowledge, but they need to show us that they can execute. And that's kind of what that early training session, that AAA farm club's really doing is this person coachable? How are we going to know if they're coachable? Let's coach them up. If they're too small, get them to that first. Show me that you can execute, get to that kind of level, and then we're ready to do something special. So I see them as fitting into kind of one of those 2 camps.
All right. So can I make 100 million doing this? This is the theme of the show, right? Or 8, 9 figure exit. No, hold on. So I have a meeting in about 2.5 hours with my landscaper. We were looking at possibly doing a roll up with my landscaper. And then we got his numbers. It was making $200,000 a year, 150, which wasn't big. And so I live in a gated private community, and he has about 35 of the 400 homes, and he charges $300 a month less than the big company that's doing a lot of the homes here, that's actually doing all the club stuff. Well, that contract is up at the end of 2024. The head of that person now is going to be working for this guy who's my landscaper. And I think half of the revenue's landscaper is my lawn. I'm convinced of that. So I have another meeting, and he's like, they're just primed to go. So I think he doubled his profit since we met. So I think he's at 300,000. So it's and literally, like, I see him all the time. I drive around the neighborhood. I see the trucks and stuff like that. I think he's got 2 or 3 trucks. Can we? Would this be a test case? It's it's local. I see it. I can help. I have somebody else that can help kind of run the operation. And because we are in a community, and by the way, just the fact that it'd be easy to go marketing wise, right? Like, my marketing strategy would be very clearly, you go to other people who is with us, other companies. Hey, I'll give you 2 months free landscaping. It doesn't really necessarily matter. You kind of come in, because once the money's in the cleaning and all this stuff.
JT, I was just doing some quick math, right? So my neighborhood, similar size to yours, country club exclusive. Same thing, there's one company that's got the master contract. I'm on the board, of the homeowners association, so I happen to know what that contract costs. And when I look at you could build a company that we could exit for about 30 to 35 million in just that neighborhood.
I'm saying, let's do it. I was just saying,
that neighborhood.
You take your neighborhood, I take my neighborhood. And here's the thing too. I got the other subdivision.
The basic math, because I'm sure we're paying similar prices. I'm paying, call it, I'll just use round numbers, $20,000 a year for the landscape maintenance.
But I paid more because I got trees and that BS that they forced me to put in and stuff like that. Because there was a freeze last year, so you had to put in the exact same thing.
So there's 400 homes. Let's just assume that we get half. Times 200 homes. That's $4 million a year.
And don't include the club contract. That's another.
Well, that's what I was going next. Throw the club contract on top of that, and it's like, and if we can tweak a 15 to 20% margin, call it, then you've got what I'll call a sellable asset that's going to generate 30 to 35 million.
And it's more likely to be sold because a bigger company likes the higher net worth because the tree, the cleanup.
They want that high end clientele that pays that 20 to 30,000.
I paid 12,000. Apparently I paid 10 to 12,000. I think. I don't even know. I didn't even ask for the bill because I said, like, put some damn Christmas, because they like, we should put Christmas lights on there. I don't want to be like the Scrooge when everyone around me's got those Christmas lights.
Man, Christmas lights.
But I got the LED ones where I can control from my app. You know what I mean? Because everyone around me had it. And the guy's like, and I'm like, I don't need Christmas tree, so I got to guilt it. That's the problem because I got one of the bigger houses, right? So everyone, on top of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mountain.
yeah.
So
You have to keep up with the Joneses
I
and
have
the
to keep
country
up with the
club.
Joneses, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
apparently
let me, let me just frame up just how easy this really can be, and so let's just use some math. Let's not worry about where the money comes from yet, because there's plenty of it out there. Let's just do some quick math. If I bought 4 companies and each company had $1 million in EBITDA in earnings, and I put them together, let's say I pay 5 times for each of those companies. So 1 million in earnings, 5 times the multiple I pay. I buy 4 of them. So 4 times 5 is 20 million. So I spend 20 million. I immediately turn around and I put them together. I work with them for 6 months. I get them growing a little bit. And instead of selling 4 million of EBITDA, I sell 5 million times 8. That's 40 million. I get a
wow.
$40 million headline enterprise price. It cost me 20 million to buy it. I put 20 million in my pocket. I could do that all day long in under 2 years. Give me a year to put the 4 companies together, a year to work with them, exit. In under 2 years, that's a $20 million exit. And if I did that times 10, so I buy, let's just buy 8. So I buy 8 companies at $1 million in EBITDA each in earnings, and I pay 5 times for each. I paid 40 million. And I work with them a little bit. I get 8 to 10 million, call it my organic growth story. And so now I'm selling 10 and I get 120 to 150 million. And I've spent 40 million putting them together. I now make 80 to 100 plus million. And that's probably about a 5-year project, and so like take my last company when I've got an unlimited checkbook. I bought, 23 companies. I bought 8 in the first 3 years. I bought 15 in the last 2 years, because as you get good at it, in an industry, and you're building that pipeline of opportunities, your traction, you pick up traction, it happens faster. So in my world, I'm doing this on a large scale, making institutional investors hundreds of millions of dollars of profit every time I'm doing it. But on just a small entrepreneurial scale, if you put capital aside, I need money, it's okay, great. There's lots of it out there. We got to treat it well and we'll find it. But if you leave the capital part out of it, it's that easy. It's that easy to be. In the United States, we call ultra wealthy is a net worth over 30 million. And then there's the 9-figure club. And it's like this is how easy it is to do this. And unfortunately, too many entrepreneurs are bogged down inside their day-to-day grind, trying to figure out how am I going to make a buck this month and pay my truck payments or whatever I'm doing. And it's like, and they don't have that higher level strategy. And so I start with the end in mind. Where are we going? Reverse engineer it. I need the catalyst. I need that starting company with $1 million in earnings. Then we need to find who are their buddies that also have $1 million in earnings. And it's like, let's build it all. In your case, you're talking about this landscaping deal. This is like a one neighborhood company.
It was a neighborhood. And by the way, there's another, it's not a subdivision, but it's like $5-6 million homes, which is crazy because when I first moved to Nashville 2.5 years ago, there was nothing over 3 million. It was like weird. It was like very few. And then all of a sudden the pandemic just doubled and tripled the prices of everything, which is crazy. And so they have a non-gated community, but they've got, homes and nice homes and stuff like that. And so, and
yeah, my entire town is neighborhoods, like we're describing here. And so it's
so
like,
how big is your land? How big is your landscaper?
So my landscaping company was a similar deal. We had a contract a couple of years ago with one of the biggest on the planet, multi-billion-dollar company, and they were just kind of doing a shitty job, and they were charging a lot of money and not doing very well. So, you got some young, hungry guys who decided to break off. It's actually a lady who broke off and started her own thing, and
so she's like the same. So now she does your lawn or the whole club thing?
No, she does our club. She does the club, and
she also does your lawn.
She does not do my lawn.
Really?
She does
who
does
your
club.
lawn?
So I have a small company that does.
So like mine.
Lawn.
So why don't you talk to your guy? I'll talk to my guy.
Yeah, maybe we do something.
What do
My
you mean,
guy's
maybe?
a little bit
I
bigger.
thought we just discussed this. What do you mean maybe?
Yeah.
How did
yeah. So my guy's a little bigger. We'll have to see if he's realistic and wants
well,
to.
How big is the other lady? Who's bigger? The lady doing the club or your guy?
So I think the lady doing the club, is the club. Essentially she is the club. That's it. And
that's weird. Why wouldn't you have ancillary? All the lawns, you're already there.
Well,
you already have the crew.
She just started. She started with that contract. That was the launching point for
Well,
her.
then you need to
So
talk to her. You need to
yeah.
talk to somebody. You need to you can close this deal.
So we're gonna have Texas and Nashville,
Well,
the
by the way,
landscape
we have
that
two of the highest sound like a
yeah.
bunch of rich people assholes. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, listen, I would wait to cut my lawn every 2 weeks, but no, we have to cut it every week here, and so
Yeah, because there's probably some lady that walks around every day with a ruler that measures it. Says, this house it's 2 inches, it's a quarter inch too long. Somebody better get over here and cut this damn thing.
so the funny is I've been having a lot of meetings, like, and before I'd go downtown Nashville to have meetings or wherever. And I'm thinking like, and then I was thinking about getting a membership to the Soho Club. And I was like, it's like $4,000 a year in Nashville. I was like, you go in there, you have all the facilities. And I'm thinking, my facility is like 3 minutes from my house. And they just take my
Yeah.
golf cart. Like, why am I not having it there? Maybe I didn't feel like I wanted people there. I'm like, screw that. With gated community, you need like driver's license, double gated, they give you the fifth degree, like the CIA thing. And so I'm at the club, but I drive the ball 375 yards, right? And I did it in front of witnesses and with our clients. I think it was back in June. I haven't played since, right? So once in a while I'll go in there and everyone's like, man, I like golf, but I don't love it, right? I'd rather do business. I'd rather do this.
Golf takes too damn long. Yeah,
correct. Yeah, exactly. So I have a meeting yesterday at my club. And the guy goes in, I can't get you anything. And he goes, something, he goes, what's your name? I'm like, JT Foxx. He goes, you're JT Foxx? Everyone's talking about, what did they say? He goes, you're just like this guy who does all these things. And you're with Tommy Hilfiger and Lionel Messi and Tom Brady. Cause they look at my Instagram, right? Which I had no clue and idea.
I told you, people at my club know who you are now. It's like the valet guys. Yeah, I saw you on TikTok with JT. I'm like, I was, what?
Here's the interesting part. So the head of the golf comes up to me. He goes, you do a lot of businesses. We want to get rid of our golf person who does the landscaping because they're not happy. It's a massive contract. Like they run everything.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, what can you do? And I'm thinking, I got to take over the lawns. I got to take over. And if I do a shitty job, I will have to move out, right?
Yeah, if you're talking about maintaining the golf course itself, not just the neighborhood common areas and crap. I mean, that's a serious business.
That's another contract though. The golf course is a serious contract. But here's the funny part. So the house that I bought used to be the CEO of a big media company. I'm not going to say it, but everyone would know who it is. Big president of the media company. But I buy the house from him. He moves 2 doors down, does the exact same thing. And then he becomes the president of our association, right? The campaigns and everything. It's the head of a media company. After 2 months, quits, moves out of the neighborhood and hated it. People would call in and say, you know what? The birds of trash didn't do it. Or you know what? I'm going to boycott listening to your station if you don't. Like, here's the guy who probably makes $5 million a year. Basically dealing with these people, these idiots. And
I'm on the board and I get that shit too. It's like,
do they call you? Do they call you?
Yeah, they do. It's like, hey, there's a generator on the golf course that's too freaking loud, and I just paid
like,
$7 million for my house, and I'm listening to this damn generator.
I'm on a show, go how to make $100 million on a show, talking about 8, 9, 10-figure exit, and you're calling me about your generator? Generator? You know what I mean? It's like that Allen Iverson.
So my 3 years servitude is up, and it's like, am I going to renew? It's like, nah, I'm not gonna.
Just get the contract first, though. Get the contract first. So that is your homework in there. So I have a meeting on the landscaping. You're going to reach out and say,
okay, by episode 3 of this podcast,
by episode 3, we're going to give an update. We're going to update, this. But you better have something to talk about. You better have something to talk about. So listen, if you guys would like us to basically partner with your company so that we can scale it and partner together, getting involved, however that is, we don't know. Or potentially you'd be like, hey, listen, look under the hood. What can be done to turbocharge? We're willing to look at both. The difference is Adam and I kind of had a meeting this week and we both just said, whatever we do, we're cutting 80% out of it because it was a great social experiment to teach as many people as we possibly can how Adam does it. And then obviously how I do it. But here's the thing too, with our trade school project, with our Unite equity partners, like there's so many other projects that we're doing. And at the end of the day, our goal is this $100 million exits, $100 million exits. And there's different levels, right? You start off with 30 and then you go to 50 and don't think that's unrealistic because you can roll in part of your company. And this is what we want to do. We want to do it with you. It's in the comments, or you can go to adamcoffey.com. That's EY, adamcoffey.com, but it's all into the comments. Adam, any theme as we're about to enter into 2024, real estate, was I've done over 1,000 deals, the slowest year ever I've seen in terms of deals, right? It's like screeching halt. I know commercial will probably crash in 2024. What do you see happening, your prediction in 2024 in the space of what we're doing, which is
Yeah, so
buying,
so
selling, merging, exploding?
lot of bullish optimism for 2024 for mergers and acquisitions and doing exactly what we're talking about. So expected for interest rates to peak and start declining, looking at about a point reduction in 2024, kind of continuing into 25 and normalizing at about 2.5%. That's kind of what Wall Street is saying right now. So everyone's gearing up for a massive, massive amount of deal flow. 2023 first half was a slow deal, and we started to get volume in the second half of 23. But everyone is kind of looking for a gangbuster year in deal making in 2024 as interest rates start to moderate and come back down. Money will loosen up a little bit more, and with the moderated interest rates, it's kind of like you get used to that $5 gas, and then when it goes down to 4, you don't bitch. When it used to be 2, it's like you get used to a higher level. So as those interest rates start to moderate, you're going to see a big increase in deal flow, because ultimately these trillions of dollars in private equity, that money has to get put to work. And so looking for a big year in 24, actually, in terms of deal making.
So truth be told, by the way, if you are enjoying this show, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe to the channel, like, and share it. The more we see that, the more we're going to do it. But in fact, Adam and I, the only way we could have a meeting was at 6 o'clock in the morning. So we did a meeting and we did the show at the exact same time, because I said to him, hey, rather than talking about this landscaping, why don't we just do it live on the air? So 2 birds, 1 stone. So you really got into the mind, because we didn't discuss this before, of the type of deals and transaction. And so I want to wish everybody a happy new year. But even if you're listening to the show years down, here's the thing too. There's fundamentals. There's step-by-steps doing it. Remove your ego from it. You're only as good as your team. And new level, new devil, new way of doing things as well. So like, subscribe, make sure you check on the comments. We want to do it with you. This is why we do this show. Thank you so much. And that is a wrap up. Episode 2 is, can I make $100 million doing this? 8, 9, and 10-figure exit. He's done it. I've done it. Now we'd like to do it with you. We'll see you on the next show, episode 3, about landscaping one-on-one. Did Adam accept the billionaire offer, or did he was able to convince his landscaper to work with him? He convinced the billionaire, but will he convince his landscaper? That is episode 3. What do you think is going to happen? We'll see you on the next show.